extracted and placed to the raw form. Mr. President of the Senate, you will be realizing $6.5 million. And that $6.5 million, if you parade it and put it across the 15 counties, you're going to be having almost 435,000 plus. That's a huge amount that can help.
In a related development, Birmingham County Senator Edwin Melvin Snow argued that LPRC overlapping roles as regulator and importer creates a system with no real checks. Senator Snow argues that LPRC control over pricing and policy despite lessening private importers creates an unfair advantage that threatens market transparency and must be brought to an end.
In this industry, LPRC is also a player. So with LPRC, then we go back to the proposal that was brought here by Senator Abache to unbundle LPRC. Because LPRC is an actor. They want to import. LPRC is commencing the process of importing petroleum products. LPRC have 10, but LPRC also giving the right to others. So they are giving all that right to others to build tanks. They want to import. They want to set the price. They want to. So LPRC can tell what they really want to do. LPRC cannot be at every level of the game. So the idea, which was announced by the president the other day, which I think is a good idea, LPRC want to import, they're not unbundle LPRC. So we go back, we have this discussion now, has to go back to the unbundling of LPRC. Then you set a regulatory body that will be responsible and oversee LPRC, and LPRC will become a player.
East Birmingham County Senator Edwin Melvin Snow. Earlier speaking was Birmingham County Senator Prince Kemu Moy. A former legislative candidate in District 16 Monserrate County has appealed to President Joseph Boakai to halt the outsourcing of the vehicle registration from the Ministry of Transport to the Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated. Achi Sano, a strong supporter of President Boakai's liberalization policy, says outsourcing the registration of vehicles to the foreign company constitutes surrounding $12 million United States dollars of annual income to a foreign company. Addressing a press conference on Bourgeois Island on Wednesday, July 23, 2025, Sano pointed out that the outsourcing of the Department of Vehicle Registration will cause job losses for Liberians. The former legislative candidate advised the government should not be given grounds for individuals who are interested in enriching themselves to benefit at the detriment of the Liberian people.
Wise and also employment issues. As a patriot, one who has fought for social justice and liberalization policy and suppression, I have come to the realization that the traffic management contract that was signed, by all of my investigation have been proving that it was bogus against national interests, is unpatriotic against liberalization policy as well. We have found out that certain group of public officials have been involved into the contract for personal interest, for share with our investment. That percentage will come as a result of exploiting the Liberian citizens. Transport Ministry generates 10 to 12 million per annum. In 25 years, that is 250 million. He brought in a contract and gave it to a foreign company against Liberian interests for 40 million for 25 years. So if you are to do the calculation, 25 years, 250 million, 24 years, the country will be losing $210 million within 25 years. What sense does it make? Those are employed at Ministry of Transport. Some of them will be laid out. Can we take the presidency from our President Joe Biden and give it to Lebanese? Absolutely not. Will he agree? No. Can we take the police director job and give it to for corporate coma and give it to Lebanese? Absolutely not. Can we take the justice minister job and give it to take it from the justice minister and give it to Lebanese? Absolutely not. I will support that because I protect Liberian interests, because I am a patriot. If we can do that, why do we want to do it to our people who voted us? The president is doing some good things. Why is it true that there are some other things, bad things? But there are other people in government are doing it. He may not know, he may know, I don't know. But this has brought to my attention to allow him to be informed that this is going to tarnish his reputation when it comes to patriotism. He cannot take the transport ministry and offload it to foreign interests, security-wise, revenue-wise, and also employment issues.
His former representative candidate Aji Sana in Mansfield County District 16. Lofa County Senator and co-chair on Senate Judiciary Committee Joseph Jala has partially endorsed the call by Associate Justice Destinate Boaga Kane for a rewrite of Liberia's 1986 Constitution. Speaking at the Senate confirmation hearing of Councillor Kane, Senator Jala acknowledged that while certain provisions of the Constitution may be outdated, a total overhaul should not be rushed. He recommended a case-by-case amendment process instead, cautioning against politically driven reforms that could compromise democratic principles. The Lofa County Senator recounted his earlier involvement in the review of constitutional provisions prior to the 1986 referendum and praised the original drafters, describing them as seasoned politicians, professors, and diplomats. He stressed that the Constitution was the result of broad intellectual consensus and has remained functional for decades, with several amendments already made through the legal process.
And I wrote articles about some of the provisions before they were adopted in referendum. The 1847 Constitution, I think, if I'm correct, I stand corrected, has about 10 short articles. They lasted for more than 100 years. And were written by one person, Professor Samuel Greenlee of Harvard Law School. Now, the second Constitution for the Second Republic was written by, I think, about 25 presidents, if I'm correct. 25 presidents. Well-experienced people in public service, teachers, farmers, professor of government, like Amos Sawyer, like ambassadors, like Henry Famula. All these people were on the Constitutional Committee. Then they didn't understand that they went for Constitutional Review Assembly. Then it has gone through that. We should do our best. There are a few amendments that have been done, and they said, well, because, for example, you could not elect a senator by simple majority. That will change from the amendment. So we can do case by case instead of pushing for sweeping reform. It's only law will depend on. Some government may want that to succeed themselves 3 or 4 times. When you saw Tottenham lasting for 27 years, it's not by accident. It's temporary with the Constitution.
I'm familiar.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I take it back. So that would be my own urge for study and advisement for our people, as someone who is, who have gone through some of the roads. So, but with that, let me congratulate you for the preferment by His Excellency, our President of the Republic of Liberia.
For his part, Associate Justice Destinate Boakai Kane defended his position, stating that Liberia's current constitutional framework no longer reflects the realities of modern governance. He argued that a complete rewrite would not dismantle the government structure but would instead modernize national laws and strengthen democratic institutions. Now, if you're just joining us, it's a reminder that you're listening to K News at 6, a 45 minutes presentation of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. We are live on Facebook at Cool, also live on YouTube at Cool, that's K News Channel 2, and live on our online radio at www.knewsonline.com. My name is Benjamin Keba presenting. The United Nations Development Program Liberia that's Resident Representative Aliyu Mamadou Dia has emphasized the need for stronger efforts to boost Liberia's private sector, empower local entrepreneurs, and reduce poverty in communities across the country. He called for collective action among governments, financial institutions, and development partners to support micro, small, and medium enterprises, which he described as the backbone of Liberia's economy. They pointed out that every dollar invested in SMEs contribute to building a more resilient, inclusive, and self-reliant Liberia, while stressing that empowering entrepreneurs is a key pathway to sustainable development and economic transformation. He made the statement at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Congo Town during the official launch of application for Cohort 5 of the Growth Accelerator Liberia program. The Growth Accelerator Liberia initiative aims to support and scale up high potential businesses across the country. They reaffirmed UNDP's commitment to the program, pledging not only financial support but also mentorship, capacity building training, and access to networks that can help Liberian businesses grow sustainably.
I wanted just to recommit UNDP's engagement and support to this initiative. I think the first question I asked when I arrived is, what are we doing with young people? What are we doing with young entrepreneurs? Because that kind of activity is very close to my heart. Wherever I have been, this is my third time resident representative of UNDP. We have been engaging a lot with young people, but also with entrepreneurs, with women entrepreneurs, with young entrepreneurs. We want to bring it at scale. We want to be supporting more young people, more women to this program. Because most of the time when women compete with men, they have the tendency to lose. And the way I used to address it is, this accelerator program is ongoing for women and men. But definitely, Minister, I will come to you because I would want to launch the same program only for women. I have done that in the past, and it was the most successful project and program I have ever implemented. So we'll look into that. So I'm sure our men, friends, brothers will not.
Is UNDP resident representative Aliyu Mamadou Dia. Mansoura County Senator Abraham Daros Delan has called for immediate legislative action to establish a clear legal framework for the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Company (LPRC). Speaking during the 39-day sitting of the Liberian Senate convened to review petroleum pricing reports, Senator Dillon explained that LPRC still functions under a 1978 Article of Incorporation, which technically categorizes it as a public-private entity rather than a government body created by law. The Mansoura County Senator emphasized that no law presently authorizes the executive branch to appoint officials to LPRC, labeled in past and current appointments as an unlawful tradition that has been wrongly normalized. He noted that the agency has not provided an updated report on its operation and questioned its authority to carry out regulatory functions without legal grounding, especially in a sector as sensitive as petroleum pricing. Senator Dillon urged the legislature to draft and pass legislation that formally establishes the LPRC outcomes in mandates and legally authorizes the executive to make appointments subject to Senate approval.
FPRC acting and exercising plenty authority. No law grant FPRC the authority. And we gotta be careful how we give FPRC too much power from this chamber when there is no law that establishes FPRC, an act of legislature. LPRC still operates on a 1978 article of incorporation. That makes LPRC technically a private public corporation. Yet, LPRC cannot even tell the last year they renewed a business registration in keeping with the current, the 1978 articles of incorporation signed by Madam Salif when she was Deputy Minister of Finance and Clement Watson when he was head of FPRC. This legislation, that article of incorporation and no other law since 1978 grant the power of to the executive to appoint people at FPRC. It has been a wrong thing. It has been a tradition which we have accepted. It is time for this body, the legislature, in keeping with our reform agenda for this country and for the future, to make sure that we pass FPRC into law, structure it properly, and grant the executive power to the president to nominate people there who are supposed to come for Senate confirmation so we can put FPRC into proper perspective. Any other thing we're doing here, what the authority?
Is Montserrat County Senator Abraham Darros Dillon. The Liberia Agriculture and Environmental Journalism Network is urging a major shift in the country's media landscape by calling for specialization in agriculture and environmental reporting. The network believes its focus is critical for driving national development through awareness and accountability. According to Executive Director Jefferson Massa, media practitioners should move away from broad general reporting and take on specialized beats that tackles issues like food security, climate change, and sustainable agriculture. He emphasized that such reporting can inspire policy reforms and public engagement in crucial sectors often overlooked in mainstream media. Massa also underscored the urgent need to train more journalists who are passionate about environmental and agriculture matters. He believes that equipping professionals with the right tools and knowledge will amplify critical issues that affect both rural and urban communities across Liberia. The network's executive director further encouraged citizens to embrace the value of agriculture not only as a source of livelihood but also a national priority. He noted that media coverage of agriculture can shift public perception and help the government attract investment and innovation in the sector. The Liberia Agriculture and Environmental Journalism Network says transforming the media into a tool for development in agriculture and the environment is a step forward in building more sustainable future for the country.
We couldn't have journalists. Everybody just reporting. Like myself, when I started with radio, I was just reporting on everything. But then we have to transition. And then when we transition to development reporting, development also is big. You have health, education, this. I zoomed down to focus on agriculture, and rural development issues. So that set of a specialized skill. Yeah. Lacking, we do not have a lot of specialists. So now, with the training and the resources that we are gathered, now we'll be able to replicate. So you have more journalists now that report on agriculture issue than before through our training and mentoring support. And then Beyond that, we also want the media to set an agenda for agriculture. Just how it has been able to successfully brainwash the population or the or those that follow the media to talk more politics, we want to use the media to amplify national conversation around agriculture development. We also want to see how the media can also set the agenda, because if the media has some sort of a focus on helping smallholder farmers have access to information, especially in rural community radio stations. So that's why you see bulk of the network members, they are community radio broadcasters that are much closer to farming.
Is Jefferson Massa, the executive director of the Liberia Agriculture and Environment Journalism Network. The Hope Raising Heart Initiative, in collaboration with Golden Waste Solution Enterprise, has concluded a one-day National Emerging Public Health Students Conference in Monrovia. The event brought together over 100 students and early career professionals from health-related fields under the theme Empowering Tomorrow's Leaders, Innovating Public Health of First Sustainable Future. Facilitators were drawn from key public institutions, including the National Public Health Institute of Liberia and Phil, the Environmental Protection Agency EPA, and the Ministry of Health. The Hope Raising Heart Initiative is a youth-led non-for-profit that works to improve health, sanitation, and health education in underserved communities. The group has reached over 1,700 people through reproductive health training, malaria awareness, and other community outreach programs. Speaking at the conference, the organization's country director, Lawrence J.W. Sebu, said the initiative is focused on equipping young people to lead Liberia's health transformation. Serving as guest speaker, public health advocate Mrs. James Etta Sasumin Gono Chison urged participants to use their voice and digital platform to promote health education. Amidst the ongoing debate over credit for the World Bank funded ARIS project, a development initiative that had led to the construction of 3 modern senior secondary schools in Magibi, Bunk, and Nima counties, Vice President Jeremiah Pancon has stepped in to set the record straight. Speaking on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, at the official dedication of the new ARIS Senior Secondary School in Ganta, Nima County, Vice President Jeremiah Cohn reflected on the project's origin. According to VP Cohn, the project began during the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The VP's clarification comes amidst claims and counterclaims over which administrations deserve credit for launching the Transformative Education Initiative. While the current government celebrates its completion, Vice President Cohn's comments highlighted the long-term multi-administration effort behind the project.
I remember when Madam Sari said education was a mess. The Ministry of Education then developed a program, and that program was Getting to Best. Under that program cost, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 million or around that. That program was to clean up the system and make our education system better. Mess, getting to best. I remember the Global Partnership for Education at a conference in Dakar, Senegal. If I'm not mistaken, either Rihanna or somebody went there to sing it, but the conference was intended to raise funds, and the fund that was raised at that program, 11.9 million was committed to Liberia for educational development. And because we needed money to support that bigger educational plan, Madam Sadi made a case to the World Bank, and the World Bank allocated $50
And so the project development started. One David Bissa, the Minister of Education at the time, Honor Minister George Warner, was the focus person for government. The full name is David Bissa. You have one Peter DeVos and Colleen Hawk, who represented the World Bank, the lead to develop the project. In the process of developing the project, the government came to an end. The new government was ushered in January 2018. Bissa was staying at the Ministry of Education up to November 2018. When he took the ministers of education at the time, the deputy minister, Latin Detain, and 13 other people to the states. Because every government account must either decide to continue the project or they want to change it. And so under the leadership of Minister Soli, the then government decided to continue with the project. They started the project. Rennie was here in 2019. Minister Samuel Twelve signed finally. And Rennie, the first superintendent, the principal here at the time started. I remember our representative then. Later he died. The project started. And so in short, it was President Weah who started the project after Madam Seti and President Waga secured the fund. In the middle of the project, President Weah term came to an end, and then President Waga came in. And under the able leadership of Madam Jasso Jala, this project is completed.
In a goodwill gesture aimed at strengthening the visibility of law enforcement officer, Lofa County Senator Momo Cyrus has donated 500 raincoats and 1,000 reflective jackets to the Liberia National Police. The official donation was done on Tuesday, July 22, 2025 at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. Making the presentation, Senator Cyrus lauded police under Inspector General Gregory Coleman and promised to push for more funding for the police in the 2026 national budget. As part of his July 26 giveaway, Senator Cyrus also announced plans to donate 350 bags of rice and 150 rain gear to the Joint Security in Lofa County. The Lofa County Senator pointed out that the legislature must do more to support state security apparatus who work under tough conditions, especially during bad weather.
We are pleased at this hour as chairperson of the National Security Committee for prize of defense, intelligence, security, draft talk with the professionalism that everyone needs to continue to examine. I want to commend you first for the hard work. And we team, this team is doing extremely well to protect them in front of them. We are all of you to support you as chairperson of the security. Against our background, we don't believe in words. We believe in actions. And let me tell you this. We will do everything possible at the level of national legislature to support you through the budgetary and income conferences. We know the challenges.
Taking delivery of the donated rain gear, Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman appreciated Senator Cyrus, assuring him that the attempts will be help improve officer safety during the rainy season. Colonel Gregory Coleman also raised concern over the growing number of road accidents in the country and added that rain gear will help traffic police stay safe and visible while executing their duty.
On behalf of the men and women of the Liberia National Police and Women's Dinner, sincere thanks and appreciation to you and your entity, your family, for making this sacrifice for us. I mean, it speaks to the fact that our service is not only committed, that there are people, I mean, all of the challenges that you appreciate us and what we do for the Liberian people, apart from being our own chair in the Senate. I think this goes beyond just your role as chairman, but as a Liberian who understands the business very well, who also have been a member of this sector in so many
His Police Inspector General Colonel Gregory Coleman, speaking was Louva County Senator Momo Saros, and now to draw down the curtain on today's edition of K News at 6. We take our foreign development here where a new constitution that has allowed Togo's longtime head of state, Fari Nasambi, to shift to a new road as a all-powerful prime minister and escape the constraint of presidential term limits has triggered anger on the streets of the capital. Lomé. Protests are set to continue this Friday. At least 5 demonstrators have died while confronting official security forces in the recent week, but it is not the orthodox political opposition predictably crushed in local elections last week that has mobilized frustrated young Togolese people. Instead, it is musicians, bloggers, and activists who have tapped into popular anger and wearing with a regime that has been in power under the leadership of Farid Nasibi, or before him his father Nasibi Iyadima, for almost 6 years. Well, on that note, we draw down the curtain on today's edition of K News at 6. It's been a joint effort here from our news and current department here at Cool 91.9. Many thanks to our contributors and correspondents who help in making today's edition of news a success. For and on behalf of the entire news team, my name is Benjamin Gabriel Keliba. Good morning from Painesville.